Guys, it's Living Dead Gal, and welcome back to another Sims 4 CAS video. Today we are doing the Townie Makeover for Lilith Vatore. I'm super excited about this one. I'm excited to show you guys how she ended up turning out. I previously did a makeover for Caleb. He was sort of the first in the Townie Makeover series. And then I wanted to, of course, immediately move over to Lilith. So I had a lot of fun with her. She's one of my favorite townies in the game, just that's auto-generated by the Sims team. She definitely has a unique look to her, and I've always thought she was just kind of cool. She's just, this really buff vampire lady. So even without makeover and CC, I've always just really been a fan of Lilith. So I was kind of excited to jump in and give her an updated look here. I tweaked a couple of things with her, as I'll do with a lot of these Townie makeovers, but with her, I didn't want to change too much. I wanted to keep her as being a really fit sim. That's kind of just a core part of her personality. She's a very active sim, and she's very, very toned and very buff. So in picking out skin details, I tried to pick some that I thought accentuated her face but didn't completely remove some of the muscle definition that she had. So that was a bit of a struggle, but I think in the end the result turned out pretty good. And I really didn't change a whole lot with her face. She has unique features and they can look kind of cartoony with the makeup that's in the base sim for the game, but I really wanted to kind of retain as much of them as possible and just see what I could do as far as making that look realistic. Whereas with Caleb, he was a little bit more of a stock sim base, so there were some things I wanted to tweak to give him a little bit more personality in his face, but I felt like Lilith had one of the more unique face shapes that I've seen for the townies, so I really wanted her to still keep that sort of look and that vibe about her. And then one thing you'll see here, as I'm trying to find hair, I was really getting caught up and struggling because I kind of was determined that she needed to have hair with bangs, because that's how her original in-game hair was. But honestly, I don't think it suits her face shape as much, especially after I tweaked her brows. Everything I had, it was kind of covering her eyebrows and it was hiding her face in a way that I felt just didn't really have the right vibe for her. So I ended up going back to a hair, you'll see in a moment, by Benevolence. They used to be Simply Pixelated, but they do a lot of hair retextures of recolorings. I think the original hair is by Nightcrawler, and I absolutely fell in love with it. I just thought it had the right energy and the right flair for her, and it also has a really pretty swatch. This is the hair right here, where it's very subtle, but her hair's black, but I have this swatch where it's got some sort of blue end, so you can kind of see the fade from black to a very dark ashy blue, and I thought that worked really nicely for her, and just kind of gave her some added character. It also kind of fit with the vibe that you'll see I end up giving her as far as her style, and I just thought that this suited her face shape so much more and kind of showed off more of her features. I kept the mole that she has, and I thought this was nice because you could actually, it was a little more prevalent with this type of hairstyle, kind of moved off to the side. And also, of course, it shows off the bite mark scar, which I thought was pretty cool. In some of the research I had done, just watching videos and rewatching the trailer for the Vampires pack, Lilith was actually turned by Vlad, which I thought was kind of cool. So I definitely was kind of thinking of different stories in my head of how that sort of came about, and I know that the Vatores do not have a good relationship with Vlad, so I thought that could be kind of an interesting path to explore in gameplay. But it just kind of started to give me all these different fun story ideas and kind of think about where her, where their origin story lied. And I started to think maybe Lilith, was really into the occult and really into gothic types of things. She's very creative and very outgoing for her traits, and I don't know, I could see her being more into that scene than Caleb would have been. So my idea would be maybe she kind of fell in with the wrong crowd, or maybe she even asked Vlad to turn her. I'm not really sure, where I was going with that, but I just had this idea that maybe Lilith is the one who kind of got them into this situation. And maybe Caleb is a little bit more torn up about being a vampire than Lilith is. I don't know. Those were just some ideas because they both have the good vampire aspiration, and it does state in the bio that they have different, I think, culinary tastes than Vlad. So, I don't know. It was just as I was creating this new look for Lilith, I was just thinking a lot about her backstory, and had different ideas that made me love her even more. So you'll see here, I definitely wanted to keep the sort of like leather pants, like badass feel that she has. 'Cause I know she wears, I think they're leather pants, or they're like, not lace, like tied together type pants that she has in her normal look. And I wanted to kind of retain some of that, but I thought that red was a better color for her. And I kind of have that scheme going on with her and Caleb, like these dark reds and blacks. It just works for me as far as like vampire style. It's just something that I felt really suited the two of them. And then this formal wear by Sentate, this gown is perfect for her, especially because with Caleb's makeover, I gave him a very fancy kind of old-timey look. And I wanted to do the same for Lilith's formal wear because my idea is that they would be going to balls with sort of elder vampires, and that's when they would wear their formal looks, not to things like prom, or weddings. This would be more for like meetings of the vampires and a lot of ancient vampires that they'd be interacting with. And so yeah, for her kind of whole look, I have like some things that are kind of in the vein of like a more regal vampire, but then a lot of things that are kind of like more of a modern, like punky, alternative, slightly gothic type of look. And I thought that really suited her, especially with, I think I was kind of like obsessed with this hair on her. You'll see later that I try to look for a couple different hairstyles for her. It's kind of tough. Normally I give my Sims multiple different hairstyles, but with this one having the black to blue swatch, it was kind of tricky, because I couldn't find anything else that really matched those swatches. So I ended up mostly sticking with that hair, and then for things like her athletic wear and sleepwear, you'll see I gave her just this ponytail. For some people it might not bother them, but I don't like it when the hair color, like the placement of different like bits of color, isn't consistent. So for this one it didn't bother me because I figured it was pulled back in a ponytail, but for any of the other longer styles, just not having that blue, it just bothered me, and I wanted that consistency. Also, apparently I decided she was a Poison fan. I gave her a Poison t-shirt with her athletic wear. I don't know why, just seemed to suit her. And then in here for her sleepwear, I really wanted to give her something that had that sort of elegant vampire look. Like I wanted something like silky and possibly red, but everything felt like a little bit too lacy, I guess. Nothing was really working, and then I finally stumble on this really beautiful robe by Sifix, which they're an absolutely amazing CC creator, and I was like, yep, this is perfect. This is exactly what I was looking for. So I kind of have like two sides to Lilith with some of these looks. Whereas you'll see with her party wear, it's definitely something more fun and less elegant. And I feel like she kind of has both of those sides to her. She can be really elegant and really regal, but then she also can just be a lot of fun. She's an outgoing sim. So I thought that would be a big part of her personality. Like I could see her being someone who goes out more and tries different things, and hangs out with different crowds, like maybe more so than her brother. So as I was looking for her party wear, honestly, like everything looks so good on her, but I wasn't 100% sure until I find this one little two-piece outfit, and I was like, that's perfect. That's exactly what I wanted for Lilith. But honestly, I'd love to create even more looks for her with different pieces, because just so much stuff looked good on her. I'd really like to dive in and like do some gameplay with her now and kind of evolve her character a little bit more. after doing this, because this was one of the few creative sims where I really started thinking about like just so many stories in my head for her. And I think, you know, the Sims team, they didn't do a lot on the lore for the vampires, but they did just enough to kind of get my mind moving with different ideas. And I had recently watched Plumbella's History of video on Vlad, Caleb, and Lilith, and that like really got my head kind of spinning about different possibilities and ideas. So I really had a good time doing this makeover for her, and kind of going with this dark modern vampire style. It's something that I personally really like style wise. I love red and black. That's like my favorite sort of color scheme. So doing the Vatores in these kind of styles was really fun for me. And just kind of creating cohesive looks for her throughout. It was just a lot of fun, and I ended up being really happy with how Lilith ultimately turned out. I also ended up giving her a piercing because I felt like she suited piercings, and I gave her snake bites, which I thought was kind of cool because it like alluded to the fact that she actually legitimately has fangs because she's a vampire. So I thought that those ended up looking really cute on her, especially because she has a very unique lip shape. They're small lips, but they're a really cool shape. They're almost doll-like. And I think the makeup choice that they had on the base sim that came with the Vampires pack, it kind of accentuated that, but not really in the right ways. Like, she looked like she had a lot of makeup on. And you'll see I do give her a lot of makeup for all of these looks because I feel like she is kind of glam in that way. But I wanted to accentuate her face a little bit differently. And so that was kind of the goal here, was not necessarily to get rid of the makeup, but just to tone it down a little bit, because I think she had like bright blue eyeshadow and she had unique lipstick where it has like the strip on the bottom, but I didn't feel like it was doing her lips justice. And I just thought, I don't know, I ended up being really, really happy with the shape, and I didn't do too much. I think I maybe made them a little bit larger, but I didn't end up having to tweak too much, which was really fun. And then one other thing I wanted to point out, and you'll see when I get into her vampire form, I ended up giving her a similar look to Caleb. Like, she's got the gray skin tone. I kept the one that they had originally given her for her vampire form, but I ended up giving her some red eyes, but I didn't want her to have the exact same ones as Caleb, so I picked a different swatch that I had of red eyes, just because I thought it would be kind of cool if I did all the vampires with red eyes, but they all have like a different type, just based on who they are. I thought that would be kind of a cool, unique thing to do for the vampire sims. But I did end up giving her the same like cracked detailing under the eyes, and that is 100% me ripping off the Vampire Diaries, and that is because as I read more about it, a lot of people speculated that the Vatores were actually a nod to the Salvatore brothers, so I did want to have that little reference to the show in there for myself, especially because if you've watched any of my previous videos, you'll have heard me talk about it, but Vampire Diaries is my absolute favorite show of all time, so I wanted to make sure that I gave that to her. But yeah, that pretty much wraps up my commentary on Lilith's looks and her new design. We're getting near the end of the video, so I just wanted to say thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up or leaving a comment down below. And if you'd like to see more content like this, you can subscribe to my channel. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!
Try to